of the series in the Women's Hurling podcast brought to you by Bourke Sports, our very generous sponsors. Once again, if you're looking for gear for the winter to start next season, get on to www.bourkesports.ie or norma.clancy@bourkesports.ie. Davey, we hardly thought we'd knock 15 or 16 episodes out of this when we started off, so we're lucky to get this far without getting caught out for being the bluffers we are.
Yeah, I suppose we were lucky last week with Jackie. She kind of tried to show us up nearly. But yes, 15, 16 episodes and no inter-county championship at the moment. We definitely didn't think there would have been club games even. So we're actually delighted that we've seen some action across all codes.
Yeah, no, it's been good and good action at that. And I suppose, look, if there's any positive to come out of the COVID, it's like there's never before been as good a coverage of Club Camogie, or it's never been accessible to the outsider. You know, the game's been streamed all over the country and everything. See there after the Antrim final, even the captain actually mentioned it, that like it gave an extra kind of a glamour to the occasion that it was being live streamed and stuff like that. That's great to hear that the players are actually getting the benefit of this, I suppose, in tough times and that as well. But yeah, look, we'll crack on. I suppose we'd done last week. You were kind of licking the wounds after an old championship defeat, and I was kind of licking the wounds and trying to get over a hangover of a championship win. So it was a bit of a strange week. So between the odds and the ends, I suppose we never got around to it. We call it technical difficulties.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi wasn't great. I was gone away for a couple of days after that, so the Wi-Fi was turned off.
Took the new car out to Mayo, as we saw there on Instagram. If you're following Davey on Instagram, he's some man for that.
Yeah, you kind of knew that was coming.
And the missus as well.
You kind of knew that was coming before I even went.
Yeah, that was standard tongue in cheek post. But look, we'll crack on, David. We've plenty to get through.
Yeah, I suppose I didn't even give it a shout out to Audie there for the sponsorship, but that's no one giving it out.
That's it. Katie Power will be on now as well, and down you're the third person looking for a car now, and see how it goes.
Exactly, though. But as you said, we'll crack on. We've county finals to cover. We've county finals to look forward to. But I suppose we start off with I think last weekend's or 2 weekends ago at this stage, county final in Clare. Iona Kilmona were very impressive, and in fairness, it was an easy win at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was. Look, they're an impressive side. I suppose there was a bit of a theme going through the last maybe a couple of weeks in Camogie of teams who'd traditionally been the kingpins in their counties and had lost last year. We're starting to get back to basics and win again. Iona Kilmona, a clinical, ruthless performance, really. I think they were they 1-4 that point up the first water break, and maybe 1-8 or 1-9 to 2 or 3 points up at half time. And look, an experienced team like that isn't going to blow a lead in a game like that. I suppose, like on the market side, look, those kind of performances can happen in finals. They're unusual for like Newmarket are an experienced side themselves. So they gave the performance that you might expect from a team in their first final that maybe got overawed by the occasion and got blown away by it. But look, savage performance from Iona. They have a lot of players to UL that I've been familiar with over the years. Claire Hare, centre back, top class. Good to see Fakeen back as well. But by all accounts, the star performer today was Andrea O'Keefe. I'm not surprised by that one bit. We had her for the last 2 years in the Ashbourne, and like she's just been such a consistent performer for us. Does all the hard work. But as we saw in the semi-final with her, I suppose her clinching score, as the natural ability to actually finish as well. And it's a great combination having a player that's willing to work that hard and do all the hard yards, but can still do it going forward as well. So yeah, look, they're into the Munster semi-final now, and they'll take some stopping in Munster. They'll definitely fancy their chances.
Exactly. Again, a serious side, and as you said, first side through into the Munster competition.
Mm-hmm.
We'll move on over to Kilkenny. Your Thomastown team had another clinical win. Again, you could name 15 players that could have been players of the matches.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there to say about them?
Yeah, clinical is the right word, I suppose, Davey. Like it was a typical kind of final performance. It was the worst warm-up I've seen out of a team in maybe 3 or 4 years. Being honest with you, they were wicked nervous. I'm not really sure why. We tried to keep it as low key as we could. A lot of them would have been experienced in that as well, but we had an awful lot of young players playing their first final as well. We finished the game with 4 minors. So look, we got over the line. We found ourselves a bit like Newmarket. We found ourselves 6-1 down after 10 minutes of the first half, without having played terribly poorly, which is strange. But like this old water break that Anthony Daly keeps talking about on his podcast, we got a decent enough, but maybe fortunate goal as well, depending on how way you want to look at it, just on the water break. So we managed to regroup a point down instead of 4 or 5 points down, and we drove on from there really. Once we got in front and never looked back. So I got asked after by Martin Quilty whether it was all kind of part of the plan to be talking up Loughton's for the whole year, but it definitely wasn't. Like, if you look straight down the middle of them, they'd Laura Brennan wing back, the WIT captain, Claire Phelan, the Kilkenny centre back, was centre back, and Dalton midfield, and Lydia Fitz at centre forward. Like, geez, that's an unbelievable diamond. But just on the day, our key players at 6, 8 and 11 won the key battles against those 3 players. So like we were hoping to win 2 out of 3, and we won 3 out of 3, and I suppose ultimately that's what got us over the line. So yeah, we can have a couple of months off now. We'll start thinking about Leinster then. The Leinster Championship is a bit different in that it's not on until the end of January, whereas Munster I think is on next month, couple of weeks.
That's the thing. Like, it's strange. Like, you would imagine that the 2 provincial championships will be on the same time, give the club teams a fair crack at it, basically. But like the lineup is complete for Leinster. Yourselves, Thomastown, St. Jude's, and Aurla. In senior championship there. Is there draw
it's the Kilkenny's turn to go straight into the final. So obviously there's only 3 teams. Once every 3 years you go straight into the final. So we're in the final on the 7th of February. And Oulart and St. Jude's are playing on the 24th of January. So we get to have an old look at them before we play them. But we played Oulart already, so Conor was Anthony already congratulating me. So that's the last text now, Conor. So there'll be no more communication now till one of us is either won it or is out of it.
But on a manager's point of view or a coach's point of view, how would you prepare for that? Like, you're basically going to be going in cold into
the very difficult day, I suppose. Like, I suppose we're used to it with UL in that we usually finish the league in November, and then you have to try and peak for February. So maybe kind of bridging that winter gap wouldn't be anything new. But I suppose the challenge this year is that with the inter-county scene only finishing in December, the inter-county teams won't be back training, whereas normally they'll be back December, January. And with UL and I suppose the club teams, we'd always played the club teams. So we would have played Sarsfields and maybe Thomastown would have played WIT and this kind of stuff. And so they're not going to be there to play now. We can play each other, obviously, because we're all going to be lining up, flaking off against each other in February. So, look, we're going to have a meeting next week in Thomastown and see. I suppose the balance will be there between, I suppose, getting the players ready for it, but also not having them out all winter with no games to play. So it's definitely difficult. I suppose we would have loved to just ploughed on and played it in the next couple of weeks, but obviously, like, that wouldn't have been fair in the counties then, and I suppose you have to give everyone a fair crack at it. So, like, you could look at a situation there where Galtier would be hoping to win the Munster Intermediate. The final is on the 11th, and they're out. Waterford are out in championship on the 18th.
Yeah.
So,
but as a club team, then would you prefer to go straight into the provincial championship before the inter-county season? And if you won that, then you'll still have a long break until an All-Ireland final.
That wouldn't be a bad problem to have, to be honest. It's a tricky one. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be one of the most difficult things I've had to approach in my coaching career, I suppose, is to try and figure out with Ger and Robbie and Evan, the lads, just how exactly we're going to go about this, because I suppose it's uncharted territory. But it's the same for Oulart, same for Jude's. It's like, it's just a tricky one. Ideally, I suppose we had a bit of momentum going. We'd been motoring well. We probably would have liked to just flake on and play. Like, realistically, when we go back in February, it's a completely new season. We could have, players might stand up over the winter time, and it's a different type of game in February and stuff like that as well. It's more colleges hurling. So you just don't know. So look, it's a great problem to have. We'd like to win it, and Jesus, I'm really thinking, looking forward to Leinster final in February. I hadn't banked on it, and I suppose the Ashburn will be on in February as well. So
it could be busy. It could be a
busy winter. So
but that's another thing. Like, the players as well. You said you finished with 4 minors playing as well. Again, they're going to be busy as well that time of the year as well.
We've look, a couple of them going off to college now. I think Eva Hines and Trace Donnelly are going off to Maynooth, and Sinead O'Keefe is coming into us in UL, and that'll do them a bit of good as well. It's tricky. Definitely tricky to manage, I suppose. We've a couple of nice minors coming through that played in the junior team, and they're kind of playing the 21s the next couple of weeks. So at that age, at 17, 18, 19, a winter training with your school or playing with your college, or that can really develop you as a player. So we might pick up one or two. Hopefully, we don't lose a few of the older ones.
Exactly.
In fact, the pubs are closed at Christmas now. If we could close the pubs now, we could be in serious nick come February. So let's see how it goes.
Come here, can you answer me just a simple answer now? We don't want a big rant, but why are Munster and Leinster different?
I don't know.
That's as simple as you get.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just one of these things where I suppose the two organisations haven't talked to each other. And
Yeah.
definitely, if you're a Munster county playing a Leinster county, I actually haven't looked at the county fixtures though, because I haven't really got into that headspace yet. But like, definitely the Munster counties are at a disadvantage in the county championship. There's no two ways about it. You know yourself, they're very difficult to go back into that setup and prepare in a week or two. And although someone told me there the other day that there's only one INA player on the Clare panel, so I think it'd be mainly Waterford. Waterford look like they'll be affected the most. But yeah.
Talking about Waterford, we go on to their county championship. Galtier made it right, or Galtier made to go right to the final whistle against St. Anne's. But again, we picked the winners. That's the one prediction we definitely got right.
Yeah, Galtier, I was on to, like, they have a couple of their players inside UL with us, Annie Fitz and Kate Lynch. Annie Fitz has like the potential to be just the next big thing. She's 19, captain of her club, 2-year county senior. Like, she was a minor last year. We couldn't believe it. We were preparing for the Ashburn and got a phone call off the Waterford minor manager asking her, "So we not play Annie?" Like, are you on to the right person here? Like, Annie Fitz. She's like, yeah. Jeez, I didn't even realize she was that young. I knew she was 18, but I thought she was turning 19. Like,
yeah.
So what a player! But again, they won the club final last year in Croke Park with a late goal, and they won the county final with a late goal and a point after it. St. Anne's had been absolutely destroyed in the first half and then hit 8 in a row. Niamh Rocket was absolutely flying for them. And look, they just got caught right at the end. But it's the sign of a great champion. Like, just the real great teams always find a way, don't they? It's like United back in the day under Ferguson. The amount of times they scored in injury time, it's just they never give up. I think it's that confidence winning gives you, isn't it? It's just like the good teams don't panic; they keep going and they find a way. They always find a way.
Yeah, it's
so
like they'll always get a chance at the end of it. Like they'll keep sticking to the same process, and they know that they'll get that one chance or two chances, and the experience will hopefully carry them over the line, and that's it.
Yeah, and look, Anne's will be gutted, but look, it just shows how competitive the championship is in Waterford. Like, but look, it's a shame Galtier won't go into the senior championship. It would have been great to see them having a crack off it, because they are one of the best teams in the country. It would have been a real shame.
That's something that has to be looked at. Like,
strange rule again. I'm not really sure. I think the rule is that the same club has to win it twice for them to get promoted. Lismore won it a couple of years ago, and Galtier won it last year. So Waterford have won it twice in the past 4 or 5 years. But it makes no sense to have a team like Waterford, who probably fancy themselves as the 4th or 5th ranked senior county in the country. Their champions are the All-Ireland Intermediate champions, and they're still playing intermediate. I know that's not no slight against the club, because I have it on good account that the club did request to go senior and were turned down because of the rules. So that's no slight against Galtier saying that they're trying to pick up another hand or Ireland like that. Couldn't be further from the truth. But if they do win the intermediate again, they have a very young side. Like, they won that county final without Trish Jackman as well, which is serious going. Like, so she'd have been a massive loss to them. But fair play to them. Great win.
Excellent. We move up to their neighbours up in Tip. Drum had 2 in a row. But again, a very busy weekend for all the McGraths. The big connection there from Lockmore and Drum. Yeah,
I suppose I don't know if you saw the Tip final yesterday or not, but before the game, TG Carr had the McGrath family tree up on the screen, and like basically they accounted for most of the Lockmore team, like in one way or another, between cousins and second cousins and all that. But so Noel and John McGrath's 2 sisters play camogie for Drum, and their father was the manager at Lockmore in the hurling as well. So crazy week. But Aoife and Emer were playing in the hurling. Aoife was very, very good around the middle of the field. She's the captain, and Emer McGrath was very, very solid in the corner. She's coming into UL in first year, so it's great to see it. Great free taker, physical presence, and sure, she has the hands of the McGraths, like, so she's well able to spray the ball around, like, so. They were good value for it. In fairness, like, they weren't that much better than Clonoulty. I think the scoreline didn't do it justice, but much like the group game, Clonoulty were well in it at half time, and just third quarter, Drum just put the foot down and went away. Niamh Tracy, like the IT Ashburn star, will be a thorn in our side over the last couple of years. The class player. She had two absolute moments of brilliance. One in the first half, when she tore straight down the middle, got away from caught the van, stuck it over the bar. And in the second half, she made a Pearson run. Didn't quite get the shot away, but when it broke, she left flying to the roof of the net as well. It was just two savage moments, and I suppose in a tight game that really turned the tide their way. But they were good value for it now, and they'll go on and play the Limerick champions in Munster, and they'll probably fancy their chances in the Munster final.
Just before we go on to the Limerick County Championship, I think the one thing that we get to know out of the whole this is UL are going to be very strong next year. Out of all the county championships, there's one or two players coming into UL. So that's the bet of the year, UL for Ashburn next year.
Maybe that's the bet of the year every year. There's big fellas, as Harry Findlay used to say, you never make any money back in odds against the odds-on favourites.
Yeah.
So I know it is. Look, we're lucky, I suppose. The college is getting bigger, and I suppose the reputation is getting bigger. There's a good few Kilkenny players coming in as well, which is unusual for UL, I suppose. Usually, I suppose. Fact, geez, absolutely. Usually, the Loretta players would have gone to WIT or up to DCU, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the coverage, I suppose. Maybe it would have been unheard of 4 or 5 years ago that young players would be trying to go to a college because of Ashburn, whereas maybe that's been a thing in Fitzgibbon for 10 or 15 years because the coverage is better. But like Jack Dunphy there, Kilkenny lad, he's the PRO, the CCO, and they've given a massive coverage over the last couple of years. I think players are actually making those decisions now. They're looking to go and play and develop their careers. So we've a good few of the Kilkenny kind of panelists and minors and stuff coming into that. So it's great. It's good to see it.
It's great to see, and great to see people from all over the country coming, and especially if that's in their mind to play Ashburn and to develop their hurling along with their education. Mm-hmm. But as you said, we'll move on to Limerick. Killeedy first title in 8 years. That's all positive. The only one negative thing I would say is you on Twitter, you were giving out about the coverage again.
No, I was. Look, yeah, I do get flack off lads be saying, please, have you anything positive to say about Limerick Camogie? And it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just unlucky, I suppose. Like, they did everything right, the stream, everything. And sure, geez, then the stream didn't work, and it just kept stopping and starting. And it's just, it was frustrating. So I didn't bother watching it in the end. It just rang a lad who was at it to get kind of the update on it. But look, we can't really blame them for that. They did try and put it on. It's frustrating that it didn't work.
And again, as you said, it's not their fault realistically. No. They'll learn from it, and hopefully the next time they'll be streaming a game that.
But it's just the way things are going. Like if it was going to happen to one county, the way just the year is gone, it was going to happen to Limerick. It had to but sure, look, you can see little bits of it. Look, from what you could see of it, Killeedy were good value for it. I always thought Newcastle West were going to struggle without Rebecca Lee. Like, she's just such a driving force for them. She's the cultural architect. Everything they do, she sets the tone for it, But Motion Ambrose was very good for them. Look, it was a bit of a free fest by all accounts. I think it came down. Lisa Scanlon converted 1-6 from frees, but look, no, Killeedy were the form team. They were definitely the form team in the competition. They dispatched a hand pretty comfortably. They'd beaten Grana and Ballingarry very well. So look, they won a county championship by beating Grana, Ballingarry, a hand, and Newcastle West. And that's the hard way to do it in Limerick. So no one can have any question about the fact that they were the worthy winners of that. I can't see them being too much of a threat to Drummond, to be honest. Limerick's record in the Munster club the last 7 or 8 years has been poor. And I don't really see that changing,
But they'll surely give themselves a chance. They're just after winning a county final. That game's not too far around the corner, and they're going to have to give themselves a chance. Yeah, look, I just think Drummer. You're not convinced? No, I'm not convinced. Drummer's seasoned side, with Cueva Bourke inside goals, probably one of the best goalies in the country, and just Aoife McGrath, Emer McGrath, Miriam Campion, Eve Tracy, they've got some of the key Tipperary players straight down the middle, and Killeedy are very young. Yeah, give Killeedy 3 or 4 years. They could go on and dominate Limerick for the next 3 or 4 years with a very, very young side. They kind of didn't have too many of the older guard playing, and give them a few years, they could develop into a real seasoned club side. But I think it'd be very hard to see Drum, Crumman and Cropper there against them, to be honest. No. And just there when you were talking about Rebecca Lee, that she was out injured, it was the cruciate. Will she be back for Limerick in a couple of weeks' time?
Don't know actually, but interestingly enough, Sarah Friday did hers about 3 weeks before the lead did, and she came on the county final for Trinity. So fair. We forgot to mention that actually. That's no, she didn't do much, but, it's still.
But the fact,
unbelievable resilience and determination, and just we had her in UL as well. That's the kind of player that she is. Just just a real determined, ferocious kind of a player. And you could see, obviously, G's understanding that she wasn't quite herself, but to even get back on the pitches, unbelievable. So
that's the thing. Even to get on the field, that'll give confidence and build for coming weeks as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. So it's hard to know. I don't know. I haven't been talking to Bex now, so I don't know whether she will go back in with Limerick or not. Whether she has the interest in going back or not as well. I don't know. But no, definitely. I suppose we shouldn't forget Limerick as well. I suppose our selector and the Ashburn team, Niamh Ryan, hit 1-9 for Bruff in the intermediate final as well. So giving a shout out to Niamh. For scoring a penalty. She was always she was always a wing back in UL, a defender in football as well. So she had told me already she was playing as a bit of a kind of a roving full forward. So 1-9 is fair shooting. She did the kind of the hat trick. She got a penalty, which is unusual in Camogie. 3 frees and 6 from play. So
and did I see on Twitter that Jerome O'Connell had the intermediate champions aren't going to be promoted this or next year? Is that confirmed?
The county board decided at the start of the year that because of COVID there was going to be no promotion or relegation, which is fine. I know in Clare they decided there was no relegation in the hurling, but there is promotion, so just 2 go down next year.
Yeah,
and you'd think that would be the more logical thing to do. To give them county board their due, I haven't spoken to anyone about it. I don't know what the logic was behind it or anything like that. But look, if you win your intermediate championship, you deserve to go up senior. That's it.
Yeah,
and I do understand that. Okay, fair enough. Whoever finished bottom of the senior, if they were missing players for whatever reason or players didn't play because they're worried about COVID, then you should get your exemption and not go down. That's fine. But to deny a team a chance to go up is just bananas.
Yeah,
bananas.
I
think they're the only county to do it as well. I'm pretty sure every other county just had promotion relegations normally.
That's the thing. It's crazy. As a player playing a championship, your aim is to win, and if that's winning intermediate or whichever grade it is.
Yeah,
you prefer if you win it the following year, you want to be playing at the higher level, and for that to be denied to the players, obviously they've put in hard work throughout the year like everyone else. That to be denied, it's not right, and it's very unfair for them.
Yeah, they were coached by Saoirse Bulfin as well, who's the Davies coach down in Wexford. His wife plays with him as well, so they were very well organised. As you could imagine, so it was a good win for them, so fair play to them.
That'd be a fun dynamic, the husband coaching and the wife playing.
Old Art are the same. Connor is the coach in Old Art and is the manager, and his wife plays centre forward. So, or not his wife, sorry, I think girlfriend or fiance. I don't think married.
Wife to be.
I said it to me anyway, so I want to be breaking any news there. Old Art. So the interesting dynamic, alright. I'm not sure. As long as you're winning, I suppose. As long as you're winning, it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
As long as she's playing well.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
We'll move on to the Cork Championship. That championship's still not finished, and they're waiting for a Munster lineup as well in that.
Yeah, in Ascara they're back again into the final. They're the kind of the stalwarts in Cork. I think it's their 5th final in a row. Going for their 3rd or 4th title, I'm not 100% sure exactly, but yeah, they're
I'm sure someone will tell us on Twitter how many they're going.
Actually, Dublin Camogie actually changed their website. It was the website that was wrong. No, I only had a glance at it, but they hadn't updated it, so they went and changed it anyway. So it's right now again. So I think that might make us influencers. I'm not sure, but that's what Cork needs is more influencers.
Just for anyone that doesn't know, we get a small bit of flack from time to time that we don't know our stuff, but as Adrian said there, that it's the Dublin County Board were kind of wrong and their information was wrong.
There's a bit of history there as well. That lad was waiting 4 years to have a cut off me. In the space of 6 months, we beat him in the Ireland and beat him in the Purcell final as well. So
hey, behave now, come on, back on track.
Look, Cork final, Coursier Rovers. They were in the final in 2018, and I remember when I was coaching the Mary, I had never heard of Coursier Rovers, and we had a girl, Ashley Maloney, playing for us, and she was really, really good. And we won we won that Purcell final with Ashley Maloney playing against DIT, funnily enough. And the following year then we got this Linda Collins in first year. And again, she was Corsi Rovers. I just remembered sticking out in my head in the trials going, geez, that's 2. And she was unbelievable. We got to the Ashburn semi-final and she just got goals in every round. And now she's playing full forward for Cork now. So they're obviously a club that have been kind of developing talent because they've kind of come from nowhere. Now they're starting to build these players up. But it'll be a tough task from against Enniscarra, the old dog for the hard road. Like, you know, they've been there, they've done it. With the likes of Rena Buckley and these guys playing down in West Cork. And yeah, look, that'll be an interesting final. Like, Collins is lethal. Like all she wants is goals. I don't think she scored a point in Mary I in 2 years. Like, it's just every time she got it, black spot, every single time. But yeah, that'll be an interesting final on Sunday. Difficult to call that now. Difficult to call it. Like, yeah, I suppose Douglas, like, of course, the Rovers put out Douglas, who had like Mackies and Julia White and all these as well. So they're in form. And by all accounts, Enniscarra were lucky to beat Finbars the weekend. Finbars kind of blew a decent lead coming down the tracks. But look, if you had tenner in your pocket, you'd nearly have to put it on Enniscarra because, like, so it's the safe bet. But you wouldn't rule out Corsi Rovers getting over the line for the first time. But the safe one, you would have to be on Enniscarra, obviously.
So that means your prediction in Enniscarra, that means they're not going to win.
They're not going to win, so yeah.
Yeah, so if they lose, it's Adrian's fault again.
Yeah. No, we haven't got too many of them wrong, though.
No, in fairness, we haven't.
Yeah.
No, we haven't. But
50-50.
We'll go up the top of the country, up to Antrim. Lochiel came out on top again here, and I suppose they reversed the game early on in the year to Ballycastle in the group stage.
Yeah.
Lochiel, what can you say? They're just a serious club side.
Yeah, they're very good. Very, very good side. Jerome Quinn had the stream of it, which was great. And so I saw a few clips of it. And look, they're a very, very good team. Probably desperately unlucky to be around at the same time as Slaughtneil. Like, you know, in any other generation, they'd have been the dominant force in Ulster, like two class teams. So, yeah, look, we said it at the time that, you know, every good team, if you're going to be beaten, I think if you remember back to that podcast when we were talking about Ballycastle beating them, the time to be beaten is in the group, like, yeah. You know, not in a knockout game where you have to wait 12 months to write it. Like, I'm sure they would have had a long, hard look at themselves. They could have been training hard through the group as well. A lot of the good teams will do it, have a look at the group and go, listen, we'll aim to peak here for a semi-final, final. We're not going to taper our training for a group stage. And sometimes you can get caught doing it. Nearly got caught ourselves in Kilkenny. We were fairly well behind the first game after a heavy enough week of training. But yeah, look, I think Slaughtneil are in the Derry final on Saturday against Swatra, who would obviously be quite a strong club side as well. But Slaughtneil have had the kind of the upper hand in them the last couple of years. So that'll be an Ulster final. You'd be imagining between Lochiel and Slaughtneil. I don't know when that's actually fixed for. If I had to guess, I would say that'd probably be in the new year. I would imagine.
Sensible call, like.
Yeah, the sensible call. Ulster kind of just seem to go about their business correctly, like at all levels in the GA. So you'd imagine, but when it's kind of a straight final, you wouldn't know. They might just run it off as well, rather than making the two teams hang around. So
possibly.
But yeah, look, that'll be a great game again.
Well, that's you giving Swat no hope. Like, yeah, you're fair enough. If you're calling that, like, I can't give out to you.
Yeah, Asher, look, Slaughtneil are class of it. Just never come across them competitively, you know, but over the years, the odd time there, I've been on the end of some trimmings off them on the challenge match circuit, and when they hit the straps, there's very little you can do about it, you know.
So who's going to win an Ulster final, Lochiel or Slaughtneil?
You still have to go with Slaughtneil, like, especially with the hurt of last year. I know much time I had to go hurt. They were going for 4 in a row. How hurt could they be? But like, you know how class teams operate. That will have hurt. It always does. It doesn't matter how much you've won. Like, you know, winning is like a drug. Every loss hurts, and yeah, they'll be looking for revenge again, and it'll be very interesting. I think the way it's working out this year is that it's Leinster against Ulster and Munster against Connacht, I think. So right. We could see it down the tracks.
Yeah,
at some stage.
But that's a savage Ulster final to be looking forward to.
Oh yeah, class game.
And again, you'd imagine that'll be streamed as well, and that'll be one that'll definitely put the figures up there as viewing figures.
No, definitely. And Jerome, the quality of the streams that Jerome is involved with, always down through the years. He used to do the Ashburn. I don't know why they stopped using him actually, and then he went on to ladies football, and the quality of the third level ladies football stream and anything he's involved in is top class. So, be good as well. So yeah, no, definitely looking forward to that. That'll be interesting.
Right, we'll have a look at the Galway final. That was kind of postponed because the player was awaiting a COVID test, and hopefully that came back negative. I think it did.
Yeah, I think we heard today that the game is going ahead on Sunday. So
yeah,
I presume it did. I hadn't been chatting to anyone know, but yeah, presume
yeah. Again, it kind of that makes you wonder about an All Ireland final, an inter-county season in December. Like, if something like this can happen, and thankfully that seems to have been negative, but like it could easily have been positive. What does an inter-county team do in October, November, December? You can't hold up the whole championship, can you?
No. I seen the official fixture list there the other day, and there is provision made for back fixtures in the fixture list. So from the group stage, so I presume they'd be able to make it around that way. But like the Camogie Association only have one slot in Croke Park. So like if someone in a final tests positive the week of the final, and if they cancel the game, like what do they do then? Play it in Bourke or somewhere 30th of December, so the fucking shit. Do you know?
Yeah.
It would be interesting what happens, like, but look, I was chatting to a county manager the other day, I won't say who it was, but I know the message they're drilling home to their squad is that, look, you have to be responsible now. You know, if you want to be part of this, you have to look after yourself, go to your training, stay out of groups, don't be socialising, as draconian as it sounds. And if you don't want to be part of it, that's fine. Go away and do whatever you want. But you have to take on responsibility that if you are part of this group, that you have a responsibility to yourself and to the rest of the group as well, that you don't put yourself in any, I suppose, vulnerable situations for the next while. I think that's a good message to give out. Like, you know, like I know myself definitely is conscious of it. I'm sure you were the same. You don't want to be the one that brings it into the group. If you pick it up at work, fair enough. If you pick it up in the community, fair enough. But like, go to a house party or, you know, if you're in a pub in a lockdown, you pick it up. That's just irresponsible. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But don't be doing that if you're part of a wider group that's relying on you either. You know, so it'll be interesting. But look, thankfully, I think everything is all good in Sarsfield, and they'll be ready to go for Sunday. And look, there's great credit to Adrian as well for agreeing to the refixture, because you know yourself, and you're a coach and you're kind of aiming at a date and you've all your prep ready and everything, it could be easy to kick up a fuss. But I think both sides just saw the common sense in it and was put back a week, and I'd say it'd be a cracker on Sunday.
Exactly. So again, if that's true, that's on Sunday again. As you said, Sarsfields against Adrian, that's going to be a savage close game, I can imagine. But again, you have to imagine Sarsfield kind of just pulling out on top at the end of the day. But yeah, the bit of disruption might affect them a small bit.
Yeah, you just don't know what way the disruption could go. Like, obviously it would affect their training, because it's not just a case of putting the game back, but obviously they can't meet up as a group for the few days or whatever it is as well. So I suppose Hopper probably had the four McGraths out in the backyard doing a bit anyways. That's the spine of the team. They could socially distance and still train. The beauty of having one family involved, and sure the Coonies could be down the other side and the Wards could be up the other side. So maybe they were training in 3 flats. Maybe they'd be all right. I know. Look, they drew in the first round.
Hey, if Hopper was training them, I can't imagine it would be too much social distance in the backyard.
No, skin and hair flying. But look, very interesting game. Obviously, Sarsfields, the All-Ireland champions, of course, would have to be favourites going into it. They drew in the very first round. The game, they went to extra time for no reason at all. In a group game, which we filed over there under Camogie. We'll have a look at that file at another time. But
that can be a kind of blooper file that we have all done there as a blooper.
Again, we were talking about Lochiel there, but if you remember the time when that game was a draw, we were kind of wondering, maybe we're Sarsfields not as up for it as Ardrahan. It's always going to be easier to be up for it when you're taking on the All-Ireland champions and you want to try and knock them off their perch and stuff like that. For Sarsfields, it was their first game since Croke Park, and all of a sudden you find yourself out in New Inn on a Tuesday evening trying to get yourself up for a championship game, and so maybe they're a bit vulnerable, but they still got it done. I'd imagine the big matchup would be Shauna Healy on Siobhan McGrath. I'd say that's the way it'll go. Shauna Healy definitely got the better of Ailish O'Reilly in the semi-final, and And like we've spoken about Shauna before on the show, like the old Kieran McGeaney quote, if you want to box, you'll box, if you want to hurl. She'll give it to you whatever way you want. Like, she can play from the front, she can get under the high ball and be physical under the high ball and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, look, Ardrahan.
Who's going to win that battle first? Who's going to win that individual battle?
Ooh, it's interesting.
If that's the case. If
that is the way it comes down, I'd imagine that's the matchup Ardrahan will go for.
Yeah.
You'd have to back Siobhan, like she's different class. It'll be interesting to see if Ardrahan leave that as a one-on-one or whether they sit someone back into the pocket and try and cover off that space as well. But like Sarsfields are a bit like Ballyhale and the hurling. It's like, fine, if they do win that battle, then you have to look after Orla McGrath, then you have to look after Niamh McGrath, and then you have to look after Sarah Spellman, and then you have Tara Kenny bombing up from the wing, and like it's like, Jesus.
How many do we have?
Yeah, and in club, right, you get away with one matchup, you get away with two matchups. If you have to start looking at 3 and 4 matchups, you're in bother. Like, you just can't do it. There comes a time you have to look at your own game. But there's no doubt about it. Ardrahan will give this a serious rattle. Like, they're an experienced club side. They've been there before. They've been in our Ireland club finals before. They were superb in the semi-final against Oranmore. Just completely blew them away. And Rebecca Henley in great form as well. So look, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I think, again, like what we were saying about who would you be backing, like, the safe monies on Sarsfields, like, but I think that would be a real cracker of a game on Sunday. But you'd have to just go with Sarsfields stage it.
You would imagine so, yeah. Before we conclude, like, again, this is kind of the last episode of the series, we'll call it, before we kind of get into county season. But I'm going to put a question to you. You mightn't like it.
Okay.
And it's something that'll be able
to call back. Here, Davey.
it's something that'll be able to call back on in a couple of months' time, maybe 6 months' time. Who's going to win the Club All-Ireland?
Ooh, jeez. Look, I suppose we're only 3 games away from winning it. I suppose. Old Arthur 4 away from winning it. I suppose if you want to go, who's closest to winning it at the moment? Sarsfields are only 3 away from winning it as well, because they've no.
I just want one name, but like simple. It's a simple question.
Look, I've said it here before. High respect for Sarsfields. Like, we always play them with UL and challenge matches, and they're just like, for a club team to stay that close to us. I referenced it before in the space of a fortnight last year. We drew with Galway and beat Sarsfields by 6 points. So at that time of the year, that was the level they were at. Like, Slaughtneil serious outfit. Look, it's again, you'd imagine it's going to come down to someone like, it's going to come down to Sarsfields and Slaughtneil again, realistically. Look, if you're being completely realistic about it, the further we go on, the better we get, because just like, you can just see the confidence the young players are, since the day we beat Dixborough in the quarter final, just the lift that gave them, the confidence it gave them.
Well, Thomas Down are gone to the 7th of February already.
7th of February, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you're gone fair already.
Yeah. Like, we're closer than anybody to win it right now, as it stands. Technically.
Go on, call your team.
No, look, Sarsfields. I just think they're a savage outfit. I've seen up close what Siobhan McGrath is capable of in UL, and she's only 19. It's only better to get her. So
my pick is Slaughtneil. No, anyways.
Yeah. They are class. That'll be interesting. And look, I really hope that the club finals are both played in Croker again next year. That was probably, well, obviously that was this year, but it was the best day in the Camogie calendar in 12 months. Just those 2 finals. There was Rhinos and Galtier and Slaughtneil and Sarsfields. It was brilliant last year. So I'm really looking forward to being involved in it, to be honest with you. I've always liked the provincial championships in the hurling and the Camogie, and hopefully maybe further. So just delighted to be involved in a Leinster final against Old Arthur Judes, and we'll be ready we'll have a crack off it, as well. So once you start going into that stage, like, you're looking at the big names that are left in it. Old Arthur's such a famous club, and Slaughtneil and Sarsfields and Enniscarra, Ina Kilnamona, Drummond, all these. Anyone could win that really on the day.
That's the thing. It will come down to on the day, and it'll be something to look forward to.
It's such a shame there's no hurling on this year. Jeez, like, the PSC are hurling under their skins, Ballygunner are hurling under their skins, Ballyhale are hurling under their skins.
Yeah.
Like, Thomases are lifting over in Galway. It's like, geez, it'd be unbelievable. Someone could make a few quid now by having an old senior hurling tournament there.
Just
on
with
the
them
Friday
teams.
night and Friday with 4 teams and 20 quid a man in to watch it, because there's some in entrepreneurial club out there now. They could make a few quid for themselves.
And I wouldn't be writing off Kildangan either after their performance the weekend.
Yeah, very, very good. Class. Jeez. Just the last minute, the balls to go for the goal when the equaliser was there for the taking was
exactly
unreal,
missed that, and your championship was over like that.
Yeah, there's a Camogie connection there as well. Johnny Meskel, who was one of the coaches with Kildangan, is in the hand man. He'd have been involved in the hand Camogie team for years. Would have helped him get over the line to win a county championship as well. So, yes, there's always a Camogie connection there somewhere. So well done to Johnny and the lads as well. I'd say McGrath's out in Puckon is hopping. Illegally last night and illegally today. That's the word. That's it, Davies. That's the end of the series. So
exactly, I suppose like we have a lot of people to thank. We have to thank the sound guys, the production team, and behind the cameras, and a big thank you.
You're looking at them.
Exactly.
You're looking at them. Yeah. So thanks to Davey. Oh, but like in fairness, all the guests that came on and everything is like it's great to support it, because you look, 2 lads just half spoofing really, so like everyone got behind it. So look, I think we've achieved what we wanted to achieve, and I give a bit of coverage to the club game. I think the feedback on it has been positive and stuff, so we'll take an old breather for a month. I think we both need an old rest. Well, you won't get any rest, declare flat out, so maybe we both need a break from it, but look, we'll be ready to go when the inter-county season, touch wood, comes back on the 18th of October. So we'll be back around the 11th with some scandalous predictions.
And again, we'll have a few guests.
Oh my God, we aren't getting out of the group, man. Scandalous, I know. But yeah, that's it. So listen, again, thanks to Bourke Sports. Thanks to you, Davey. It's been great. And look, if subscribe, hit all the buttons, and we'll see you soon.